1. Have you ever felt like someone was trying to make you disappear without ever saying it out loud? 2. They don't scream, they don't confront, but their every word is designed to shrink you. 3. And what if I told you, the moment you stop reacting is the moment they realize they were never in control to begin with? Have you ever noticed how some people don't even need to raise their voices to make you feel small? Their words are wrapped in politeness, but carry the weight of quiet disrespect. Their presence isn't loud, but somehow it overshadows you. They act like your ideas don't matter, like your voice doesn't carry, like your worth is negotiable. And worse, they expect you to put up with it. They assume you'll keep trying to explain yourself, keep seeking approval, keep proving you're enough. But here's the truth most people don't see until it's too late. The moment you stop reacting is the moment their illusion of control collapses. They never had power over you. They only had your attention. And once you pull that back, everything changes. It's like a shadow. It can stretch tall, looming across the floor, looking massive. But that shadow, it only exists if you shine light toward it. Take the light away and the shadow vanishes. Or think of a venomous snake. Its strength isn't in its size, it's in the fear it creates. But what happens when you stop fearing it? When you stop recoiling at its hiss, stop flinching at its strike? Suddenly the danger shrinks. That's how people who belittle you operate. They feed on your reaction. They survive on your insecurity. But here's what they never expect. You standing tall. You not flinching. You refusing to shrink. Because they don't actually need you to fail. They just need you to believe you're not enough. And when you stop playing that role, when you hold your ground without yelling, without pleading, without trying to prove anything, they begin to feel the shift. Suddenly, they're not in control anymore. Suddenly, you are the one they can't reach. So how do you deal with those people, without arguing, without lowering yourself, without saying a single word? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next will give you power in silence. Let's begin with the first principle. 1. Recognize their insecurity. Think back to a moment where someone tried to cut you down. Maybe it was a fake compliment. Maybe it was a passive-aggressive joke. Maybe it was just a tone, a way of speaking that made you feel less than. And you asked yourself, why would they say that? What did I do wrong? But here's the raw truth. It wasn't about you at all. People who try to make others feel small are usually trying to mask how small they feel inside. Their need to belittle others doesn't reflect your character. It reflects their insecurity. See, confident people don't tear others down. They don't need to. People who are self-assured don't try to chip away at your confidence. Only those who are secretly battling their own worth will try to bring you down in order to lift themselves up. It's projection, not truth. They're not exposing your flaws. They're trying to hide their own. And this is exactly where Stoic wisdom becomes your greatest shield. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In other words, you don't stoop to their level. You don't mimic their cruelty. You don't chase after their approval. You observe. You hold steady. You stay grounded. Because the strongest response is not a reaction, it's detachment. Don't give them the satisfaction of a triggered response. Don't waste your breath trying to explain yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. Instead, see it for what it is. Their attack is a mirror of their own inner chaos, not a judgment of your value. And when you truly see that, when it finally clicks, something inside you changes. You stop absorbing their poison. You stop shrinking to fit their comfort. You stop dimming your light to make them feel better. Let me share a story. There was a man I once knew, quiet, composed, unshakably calm. He worked in an office where gossip and power games were the norm. He was different. He didn't play along. People tried to provoke him, mock his quietness, dismiss his ideas, but he never reacted. He stayed focused, stayed silent. He let his results speak, let his presence build slowly, quietly. Months passed, and the same people who once mocked him started coming to him for advice, for help, for leadership. Why? Because stillness commands respect, and silence reveals strength. So the next time someone tries to make you feel small, don't explain, don't react, don't shrink. Remember who you are and let your stillness do the talking. Previously, we saw how choosing stillness over reaction exposes the insecurity of those who try to belittle you. But what happens when that behavior becomes persistent, when it's not just one moment but a pattern? That's when the deeper test begins. Let me introduce you to someone. We'll call him James. James was one of those quiet professionals, the kind of man who didn't brag, didn't boast, and always let his work speak for itself. But no matter how well he performed, there was one colleague who always had something to say. If James received praise from his manager, this person would respond with a half smile and say, "Well, let's see if you can keep it up." If James pitched an idea in a meeting, they'd immediately chime in with, "That's interesting, but I think we need something a little more serious." Every word was a calculated attempt to cut deeper, not loud, not confrontational, but persistent. And over time, James began to question himself. Was he truly not good enough? Was he missing something others weren't telling him? That's how it starts, the slow erosion of confidence, one dismissive comment at a time. But then James paused, he observed, and something shifted. He realized this wasn't happening because he was failing. It was happening because he was succeeding. That colleague wasn't attacking his mistakes, they were attacking his progress. They weren't threatened by James doing poorly, they were threatened by him doing well. So what did James do next? He stopped explaining, he stopped reacting, he stopped trying to prove anything. He didn't argue, he didn't defend, he didn't go to war with words. Instead, he returned to himself. He focused on his growth, his purpose, his lane. And then something interesting happened. The colleague's words began to lose their power. Why? Because the moment you stop feeding insecure people the reaction they crave, they lose their grip. People who seek control through passive aggression depend on your emotional response to feel powerful. Take that away, and they're left with their own empty bitterness. So the next time someone tries to make you feel small, remember these three things. 1. See clearly. Recognize what's really going on. Their words are not about your worth, they're about their insecurity. 2. Stay calm. Don't take the bait. Don't react. Don't get pulled into their emotional trap. 3. Keep rising. The best way to prove someone wrong is to keep growing without saying a word. You're not here to carry the weight of someone else's insecurity. Let them wrestle with their self-doubt while you continue becoming stronger, wiser, and more unshakable. 2. Stay unshaken by their words. Now let's go deeper, because here lies one of the most powerful skills you can ever develop. The ability to remain unshaken by someone else's words. We've all experienced it. Someone criticizes you unfairly. Someone says something sharp, something designed to sting. And what's your first instinct? To react, to defend, to explain, to prove them wrong. But here's the deeper truth. You are not defined by their opinion. Their words only hold power if you hand it to them. When someone tries to insult you, criticize you, or tear you down, what they're actually searching for is a reaction. They want you to feel hurt. They want to see you spiral. They want to watch you doubt yourself. Why? Because in that moment, when you react, they win. Not because they were right, but because you gave them power over your emotions. But when you choose composure, when you stay centered even in the face of attack, you win silently. And this is exactly where Stoic wisdom comes into play. Marcus Aurelius said it best: if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. In simpler terms, it's not what they say that affects you, it's how much you believe it matters. If you see their words as insignificant, they lose their teeth. If you view their criticism as empty noise, it fades into the background. Their opinion doesn't shape your identity. You do. Let me share another story. A man I know, let's call him David, had a colleague who criticized everything he did. It didn't matter if he was early to meetings, delivered great results, or handled problems with grace. This person always had something negative to say. At first it got under David's skin. He would replay those comments in his head over and over again, wondering, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I please this person? That mental loop began to drain his energy. Until one day, David stopped playing along. He stopped trying to figure out why, and started asking a better question. Why does this person's opinion matter so much to me? The moment that question surfaced, clarity followed. He realized this person's negativity was not feedback, it was projection. It wasn't personal, it was habitual. And from that point on, David became unshakable. Not because the comments stopped, but because he no longer gave them permission to land. So here's the takeaway. You don't have to shout to protect yourself. You don't have to defend every attack. You don't need validation to stand tall. All you need is the ability to see things as they are and remain unmoved. That's the power of Stoicism. That's how you stay unbothered, unshaken, and untouchable. The more David reflected, the more he began to ask a powerful question. Why am I giving this person so much control over my peace? And that's when something shifted. He realized that every time he reacted, got upset, defended himself, replayed their words in his mind, he was feeding that person's sense of power. So David made a new decision. He chose not to fight back, but to step back. He chose calm over conflict, focus over frustration. From that moment forward, whenever his co-worker made a sarcastic remark, David didn't flinch. He didn't glare, he didn't explain. He simply gave a small smile and carried on with his work. No energy wasted. No need to prove anything. When unfair criticism came, he didn't argue. He didn't try to win with words. Instead, he let his results speak louder than the noise around him. And here's the fascinating part. The attacks started to fade. Why? Because there's nothing more frustrating to an insecure person than someone who refuses to give them what they crave, a reaction. When you stop reacting, you stop playing the game. And once you stop playing, they lose interest because they've lost control. So how do you handle situations like this? Here are 3 core reminders to carry with you. 1, their words are just noise. Don't let temporary sounds shape permanent truths in your mind. Their words don't define your identity, you do. 2, don't react emotionally. Stay composed, stay in control. Let your restraint speak louder than their accusations ever could. 3, focus on what matters. Your growth, your peace, your direction. That's your power, and it belongs only to you. Because at the end of the day, you decide how much weight someone else's opinion carries. Let them talk, let them try, but don't let them shake you. Your strength doesn't come from their approval. It comes from within. And the truth is, no one can take that from you unless you let them. 4. If this message is resonating with you, hit that like button and subscribe. We're just getting started. Let's go deeper. 3. Respond with indifference. Let's talk about one of the most powerful responses you can ever give to someone who tries to make you feel small. Indifference. Now I know, this might sound counterintuitive. Most of us are wired to defend ourselves, to correct the lie, to stand up when someone disrespects us. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people who mock, criticize, or belittle you aren't looking for truth. They're looking for control. What they want is your emotional response. They want to see you flustered. They want to watch you fumble, react, get angry, get hurt, because to them, that means they still have power over you. But when you respond with indifference, you disarm them instantly. It's like pulling the plug on their game. They were waiting for a reaction, and all they got was silence. And that's the real power move. Here's the truth. Indifference is your greatest weapon. When you stop caring about their opinions, when their sarcasm doesn't even register, their insults lose meaning. You don't have to argue. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to match their tone, sink to their level, or entertain their drama. You just keep moving. Unfazed, unbothered, unmoved. And here's the beautiful irony. That frustrates them more than anything. Because the one thing an insecure person cannot stand is being ignored. This is where Stoic wisdom guides us yet again. Seneca once wrote, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." In other words, once you've suffered enough, once you've matured beyond needing to defend your worth to every critic, you realize not every insult deserves your breath. Not every attack requires your sword. Some battles are won simply by walking away with your peace intact. Let me share another story. There was a man I knew, Let's call him Alex. Alex worked in an intense office environment. He was competent, respectful, soft-spoken. But there was one co-worker, loud, sarcastic, and constantly trying to undermine him. In meetings, they'd roll their eyes when Alex spoke. They'd mutter under their breath. They'd take every opportunity to discredit his contributions. At first, Alex tried to respond, tried to stand up for himself, tried to explain. But then, like David, he asked himself a better question. What if I just stopped giving this person attention? So he did. Next time that colleague made a sarcastic jab, Alex didn't even look their way. When they tried to bait him, he stayed focused. He gave them nothing, not even acknowledgement. And like clockwork, that co-worker lost interest. Why? Because without the emotional fuel, the fire couldn't keep burning. That's the power of indifference. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're too strong to be pulled into drama. It means you have better things to do than wrestle with shadows. So the next time someone belittles you, don't fight. Don't flinch. Don't even frown. Just smile, stay silent, and keep building your life. Because the most powerful man in the room, he's not the one shouting to be heard. He's the one who doesn't need to say a word because his energy already speaks for him. Alex made a choice that changed everything, not by fighting back, but by refusing to play the game. His co-worker continued to nitpick. They tried to poke holes in every little thing he did, hoping to find a weak spot. And for a while, Alex felt the temptation rise. The urge to defend himself, to snap back, to finally say something. But instead of reacting, he leaned into stillness. Every time that co-worker dropped a rude remark, Alex responded the same way. He acted like he hadn't even heard it. No eye roll, no rebuttal, no emotional shift. His face stayed neutral, his focus stayed on his work, and his energy remained untouched. And then something interesting began to happen. The power dynamic flipped. The co-worker, starved of reaction, began to get frustrated. There was no more emotional fuel, no reward, and with time, their efforts to belittle Alex fizzled out. Why? Because when there's no audience, the performance ends. Go. So how do you handle people like this? Here's the formula, simple but powerful. 1. Their words are meaningless unless you give them weight. Just because someone says something doesn't mean it deserves a place in your mind. Their opinion only has power if you carry it with you. 2. Don't take the bait. You don't need to defend yourself every time you're challenged. In many cases, silence is stronger than words. 3. Walk away, mentally and emotionally. When you stop caring what they say, you stop being controlled by it. Their influence dies the moment you stop feeding it. At the end of the day, you don't have to fight every battle, especially the ones that were designed to distract you. Let them talk. Let them waste their breath. Your indifference is your armor. And no one can take that from you, not unless you hand it to them. Let your actions speak. Now let's talk about the most powerful response of all. Not silence, not argument, but proof. Let your actions speak for you. When someone doubts you, belittles you, or mocks your ambitions, your first instinct might be to argue, to explain, to set the record straight, to prove them wrong with words. But here's the hard truth. Words rarely change minds. People who want to misunderstand you will. People who are rooting for your failure aren't listening. They're looking for confirmation of what they already believe. So instead of wasting your breath, let your success do the talking. Think about it. When you succeed, genuinely, quietly, and powerfully, their opinions start to crumble. Their comments lose relevance. Their insults start sounding small. Because every win you secure, every goal you reach, every level you rise to, proves them wrong without a single word. Those who belittle others do so because they want to plant seeds of doubt. They want to see you question yourself, to give up, to second-guess your path. But the moment you stop engaging with their negativity and put your head down and rise, you take back the power. You're no longer explaining yourself. You're showing them. And that's where Stoic philosophy comes in again, with laser-sharp wisdom. Just live it. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Don't argue about who you are. Don't fight to convince people of your worth. Don't waste energy justifying your vision to people who have none. Just live it. Let the quality of your work speak louder than the noise of their doubts. Let your growth be your rebuttal. Let your life be the evidence. You don't need to say much when your progress is obvious. Stop. Let me share a story. There was a man, let's call him Daniel. From day one, he was underestimated. People told him he didn't have what it took. They laughed at his goals, dismissed his ideas, tried to make him feel like dreaming big was a waste of time. And for a while, it worked. Daniel felt the urge to defend himself, to argue, to shout back, "You're wrong about me." But instead, he stayed quiet and made a decision. He would let his work speak. He stopped trying to convince anyone. He ignored the noise. He locked in and focused everything on building, improving, evolving. He worked in silence. He learned, he grew, and over time, success followed. Quietly, powerfully, undeniably. And the same people who once doubted him, they stopped mocking. They started asking questions, curious, even a little jealous. Why? Because success silences even the loudest critic. So how do you handle people who try to belittle you? It's simple, but it takes discipline. Stop explaining yourself. You don't owe anyone a justification for your path. Stop chasing approval. Their validation is not your fuel. Start showing them who you are through consistent action, because nothing speaks louder than a man who lives his truth. You don't have to argue with someone stuck in the past. You don't have to fight for space in someone else's narrow mind. You just have to keep growing, keep building, keep showing up. You don't need to explain who you are or what you're capable of to anyone. Not everyone will see your worth. Not everyone wants to. And the more energy you spend trying to convince them, the less energy you have for building the life you're meant to live. So instead of defending your value, invest in your growth. Let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them doubt. While they waste time on words, you sharpen your skill. You level up. You improve in silence. And soon enough, your results will echo louder than anything they've ever said. Because the truth is, you don't win by shouting. You win by rising, by going higher than they ever expected, by becoming someone they can't touch, can't label, can't diminish. At the end of the day, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You just need to keep going, keep growing, keep showing up. And let your achievements say what your words never need to. Because the greatest revenge against those who doubt you is proving them wrong without ever saying a word. If you've made it this far into the video, leave a comment below with a simple thank God if this message hit home for you. And if the content resonated, hit that like button. It helps more than you know. Your support fuels this channel and inspires me to keep showing up with more life-changing insights. Thank you for being part of this journey. Now, let's keep going. 5. Set firm boundaries. Let's talk about one of the most underrated but most powerful ways to protect your peace. Setting firm boundaries. When someone constantly belittles you, when they ignore your value, dismiss your accomplishments, or subtly chip away at your confidence, you have two choices. You can tolerate it, let it drain you, hope it gets better, or you can stop it. You can draw the line and protect your peace. Here's a truth many people avoid. Respecting yourself means refusing to stay in spaces where you are not respected. Some people thrive on making others feel small. It gives them a false sense of power. So they'll test your patience, push your limits, dismiss your discomfort, and see just how much you'll tolerate. And if you don't set boundaries, they will keep pushing, because silence to them is permission. Tolerance to them is approval. But the moment you draw the line, the moment you clearly communicate that disrespect will no longer be accepted, you take your power back. Oh, slither. And once again, Stoic wisdom lights the path. Epictetus said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." Now read that again, slowly. If you're constantly seeking approval from those who don't respect you, you're handing them control over your self-worth. If you keep tolerating toxic behavior just to keep the peace, you're sacrificing your inner peace to avoid outer conflict. But when you decide enough is enough, when you prioritize your well-being over their opinions, you reclaim control. Let me tell you about someone. We'll call her Sarah. Sarah had a friend, at least that's what she thought. Every time she opened up about her dreams, her progress, or her wins, her friend had something to say. but never in support. "Oh, that's cute," or "Well, I mean, I guess that's impressive for you," or the ever-patronizing "Good for you." It was always wrapped in a smile, laced with sarcasm, just subtle enough to question, "Am I overreacting?" So for a while, Sarah laughed it off. She tried to keep the peace, told herself, maybe I'm being too sensitive. But deep down, she knew. This wasn't support, it wasn't friendship. It was someone feeding off of her insecurity because it made them feel stronger. And one day, she decided she'd had enough. She didn't make a dramatic announcement. She didn't send a long message. She didn't start a fight. She just stopped explaining, stopped defending, stopped allowing someone else's bitterness to shrink her confidence. And most importantly, she set a boundary. She stopped making space for someone who never celebrated her. She stopped inviting someone into her life who made her feel small. And with that one decision, everything changed. That's the quiet power of boundaries. They don't have to be loud. They don't have to be cruel. They just have to be clear. And when you hold that line, people either adjust or they exit. Either way, you win. Because the more you respect yourself, the less room you have for those who don't. So if someone keeps testing you, pushing you, belittling you, don't ask for their respect. Require it. And if they still can't give it, walk away without explanation. Not out of anger, not out of revenge, but because your peace is no longer up for negotiation. She walked away, and something incredible happened. The weight lifted. The second she chose to stop proving herself to someone who would never truly see her worth, a quiet strength emerged from within. No more justifying, no more shrinking, no more tolerating disguised cruelty in the name of friendship. That's the power of boundaries. Sometimes all it takes is one decision, to choose peace over permission. So how do you do it? How do you set boundaries that protect your energy and preserve your power? Here's how. First, remind yourself, you don't owe anyone unlimited access to your mind, time, or soul, no matter how long they've been in your life. Not all history deserves a future. Second, stop over-explaining. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, they don't deserve explanations. They deserve distance. A boundary doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to be clear. And third, walk away when necessary. Sometimes silence is strength, but other times, distance is power. When someone refuses to honor your worth, the boldest thing you can do is remove them from your space. Physically, emotionally, digitally. Because at the end of the day, you're always teaching people how to treat you. Every time you stay silent in the face of disrespect, you tell them it's okay. Every time you let it slide, you hand them a little more control. But the moment you say enough, the moment you walk away not in anger but in clarity, you reclaim your life. Because here's the truth. The more you protect your peace, the more power you hold. 6-6. Turn their negativity into fuel. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful mindset shifts you'll ever make. Not just protecting your peace, but turning attacks into acceleration. What if the very people who tried to break you were actually building you? What if every insult, every doubt, every attempt to make you feel small wasn't an obstacle, but a gift? You see, when someone belittles you, when they throw shade or dismiss your dreams, you have two choices. You can let it drain you, or you can let it drive you. Weak men crumble under criticism. Strong men rise because of it. That's the difference. The strong don't just ignore negativity, they transform it. They take every ounce of doubt, every mocking word, every backhanded comment, and they turn it into fuel. Here's the truth. The best way to silence doubters isn't to argue. It's to succeed. Because most people who try to tear you down, they've already given up on themselves, and they hate seeing someone still willing to fight. They want you to stop trying, because they did. They want you to fail, because your progress reminds them of their own stagnation. But when you take their negativity and use it as your fire, when you let it light up your grind instead of your insecurities, you rise. You rise higher than they ever imagined. And in doing so, you expose the truth. Their words couldn't stop you, because you never let them. And once again, Stoic wisdom gives us the blueprint. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Think about that. Just like lifting weights builds muscle, facing negativity builds resilience. Every insult is a mental rep. Every dismissal is emotional conditioning. Every act of belittlement, a sharpening of your focus. So when people try to knock you down, thank them. They're just making you stronger. Let me tell you a story. There's a man I know. We'll call him Jake. Jake had big dreams. He wanted to start his own business, build something meaningful, live on his terms. But when he told his family, they laughed. You? A business? Please. When he told his friends, they rolled their eyes. Just be realistic. He could have let it crush him. He could have internalized their doubts. But instead, he used it. He took every insult, every mocking laugh, and turned it into fuel. Each time someone said you can't, he translated in his mind to watch me. He stopped talking. He got to work. He kept building. And day by day he grew stronger, wiser, more disciplined. And then one day, the same people who once doubted him were in his inbox asking for advice. Because success speaks a language that criticism can't translate. So how do you turn their negativity into fuel? Here's how. First, stop taking it personally. Their doubts don't reflect your truth, they reflect their limitations. Second, reframe every insult. When someone mocks you, say to yourself, thanks, that's another log for the fire. Thank you for the energy. I'll use it to build the life you said I couldn't. And finally, focus on results, not revenge. Don't waste time proving them wrong with words. Let your actions humiliate their predictions. You're not here to get even. You're here to get ahead. And when you do, when you rise despite the doubt, when you grow in spite of their attacks, when you thrive in the silence they never expected, that's the win. You don't have to convince anyone to believe in you. Let your results speak. Let your discipline, your progress, your resilience do the talking. Because at the end of the day, their negativity, it only has as much power as you give it. So the next time someone tries to tear you down, don't argue, don't beg, don't shrink, just take a breath. And use their doubt as the spark that ignites your next move. Let their criticism become your catalyst. Let it push you, fuel you, and watch how unstoppable you become. Version 7. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Let's talk about one of the most underrated yet powerful decisions you'll ever make in your life. Who gets a seat at your table? You see, your environment either nurtures your growth or poisons it. The people you surround yourself with, they either build you up or slowly chip away at your confidence, your energy, and your dreams. And here's a truth most people avoid. You don't rise by willpower alone. You rise with the right circle. If the people around you constantly make you feel like you're too ambitious, too much, too unrealistic, then maybe it's not your vision that's too big. Maybe your circle is just too small. Because real friends don't mock your dreams. They breathe life into them. They don't throw shade, they shine light. They don't compete with you, they clap for you. So if someone consistently downplays your efforts, belittles your goals, or quietly resents your growth, it's not your job to keep proving your worth to them. It's your responsibility to walk away and find better company. Because here's the quiet truth. Your energy is currency. Spend it wisely. And once again, Stoic wisdom reminds us of what truly matters. Seneca once said, associate with those who will make a better man of you. In today's terms, surround yourself with people who remind you who you are, not who they want you to be. Let me share a story. There's a woman I know, let's call her Emily. For years, she was surrounded by the wrong crowd. Not overtly toxic, but subtly discouraging. Every time she talked about starting a business, going back to school, or even traveling the world, her so-called friends responded the same way. Are you sure? That sounds risky. Maybe just play it safe. It wasn't blatant negativity. It was worse. It was soft doubt. The kind that seeps in slowly and strangles your dreams without you even realizing it. Gore. But one day, Emily had enough. She looked around and realized the truth. She wasn't stuck. She was just surrounded. So she changed her circle. She started spending time with people who believed in her, who encouraged her ambition instead of shaming it, who challenged her to aim higher, not shrink smaller. And the results? Life-changing. She started that business. She took bold steps, and for the first time in years, she wasn't just dreaming, she was doing. All because she surrounded herself with people who didn't need her to play small to feel big. So how do you do the same? First, pay attention to how people make you feel. Not just when things are good, but when you share your goals. Do they lift you higher or subtly bring you down? Second, let go of toxic relationships, even if it's hard, even if they've been around for years, because longevity doesn't equal loyalty, and someone who constantly drains you doesn't deserve your light. And third, seek out those who inspire you, people who challenge you, push you, encourage your evolution, not your conformity. Because the people in your life, they don't just influence your mood, they shape your mindset, your momentum, your future. At the end of the day, you are a reflection of those you keep closest. Not. So choose wisely. Surround yourself with those who see your value without needing to dim it. Surround yourself with voices that sound like fuel, not friction. Because the right circle, they don't just support you, they launch you. And when you're surrounded by people who want to see you win, you become unstoppable. 8. Remember your own worth. Let's close with one of the most essential truths you'll ever need to anchor deep within. No one can make you feel small unless you allow it. You could be the most talented, intelligent, kind-hearted person in the room, but if you don't believe in your worth, you'll always live in someone else's shadow. So how do you reclaim that inner power? We'll begin page 8 with that answer, where we dive into how to protect your self-worth, not just from others, but from the voice inside your own mind. Let me know when you're ready to continue. Number 8. Remember your own worth. Let's bring this home with the most vital reminder of all. People will say a lot about you. They'll project, they'll judge, they'll try to minimize you. But how you respond, that's where your true power lies. How someone treats you is a reflection of who they are. But how you respond to that treatment, that's a reflection of who you've chosen to become. If someone tries to belittle you, dismiss your accomplishments, make you doubt your identity, they only succeed if you allow their words to take root in your mind. It's like planting a seed. If you don't water it, it won't grow. Their opinion is the seed. Your attention is the water. If you don't feed their negativity with your energy, it dies. So stand tall, stand grounded in your worth, because the moment you stop giving their words meaning, they lose all power over you. Here's a truth that can set you free. People can say whatever they want. They can call you unworthy. They can tell you that you're not good enough, smart enough, strong enough. But does that magically erase your talents? Does that undo your work, your character, your potential? Absolutely not. Their words don't define you. Your belief does. That's the foundation of true self-respect. Not arrogance, not ego, but a quiet, grounded knowing of who you are, regardless of outside noise. This is where Stoic wisdom enters once again. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." Think about that. Your value doesn't come from their praise or their criticism. It comes from what you're striving for, the goals you pursue, the effort you put in, the character you build day by day. As long as you are growing, evolving, becoming, no one's opinion can take that from you. Let me share a story with you. A man I know, let's call him Ryan, used to work in a toxic environment. No matter what he achieved, no matter how hard he worked, there was always someone waiting to minimize his efforts. Every win, dismissed. Every idea, shot down. Every step forward, met with resistance. At first it got to him. He started questioning himself. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Maybe I don't belong here. But then came the moment that changed everything. He realized, why am I handing them so much control over how I see myself? Why was he letting people who didn't know his journey shape how he valued his own progress? So he stopped seeking their validation, stopped defending himself, stopped giving his power away. He shifted his focus entirely inward, his growth, his mission, his pace. And that's when it happened. He became unshakable, not because the criticism stopped, but because it no longer reached him. So how do you remember your worth? First, remind yourself, outside opinions don't define you. You are not what others say. You are what you believe, and what you prove to yourself through action. Second, build your self-respect through consistent effort. Confidence doesn't fall from the sky. It's built every time you show up, especially on the days you doubt yourself. And finally, never shrink to make others feel tall. If someone tries to dim your light, it's not because you're too bright. It's because they're uncomfortable with the shadows you cast on their own inaction. Stand tall anyway. Speak your truth anyway. Pursue your greatness anyway. Because at the end of the day, your worth is not up for debate. It is a decision, and it's yours to make. So stop waiting for their permission. Stop begging for their approval. Stop looking outward when the answer has always been within. Walk with the confidence of someone who knows exactly what they bring to the table. And if someone can't see it, let them leave the table. School. The moment you truly understand your worth, not a critic, not a hater, not even your own past doubts, can ever make you feel small again. You are whole, you are rising, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for it. If this video spoke to your heart, do me one favor. Comment "Thank God" below to anchor your self-worth in gratitude. Hit that like button if this helped shift your mindset even a little. Your support means the world, and it fuels more content that helps us all grow stronger together. Thank you for watching. Thank you for believing in your own power. Stay grounded, stay unshaken, and never ever forget what you're worth.